Welcome to episode 3 of the Underground Politics Podcast. And this week, I saw something pretty fantastic, actually. We saw Batman, George Clooney, distancing himself from Biden. But not just distancing himself from Biden, we've actually seen him call for Biden to drop out of the race. Now, if you don't know George Clooney, it may not seem as important. I mean, of course, if you know this, if you're here, there's a pretty good chance you know who George Clooney is. So why do I bring it up, right? Is it just because George Clooney's a famous actor? I mean, that's part of it. That does help set the agenda. But also, George Clooney is one of Biden's biggest backers. Massive. He's raised tens of millions of dollars for Biden and for the DNC and, Democrats across the board. So we're not just talking about any bomb thrower. We're not like a Steve Bannon of the Democratic Party. We're talking about someone who's very much the establishment of the Democratic Party. So when this guy, the guy that's raised tens of millions of dollars, that he's a true believer, now turns around in space of really, since the debate, to say, wait a second, Biden is not going to win. I mean, if you don't think that's burning a lot of bridges, I don't think you understand how bureaucracy works. This guy went from supporting the party, supporting the president, appearing at fundraisers for the president, to just not even a month later saying, this guy can't win. That Father Time catches up with everybody. And not just that he's not the Biden of 2010, that he's not the Biden of 2020. I mean, come on. How much lower can you set the bar? Well, obviously, no lower. Because George Clooney eventually had to say, Biden has to drop out. He's not going to win. And this is not just the only person in the Democratic establishment saying that Biden's got to drop out. Today, we've already seen a ninth House Democrat calling for Biden to drop out as a nominee. I really want you to think about this. When is the last time members of the House of Representatives, the House party for the Democratic Party, is saying that the nominee for president of the party should drop out? Maybe they disagreed with them during the primary. Maybe they did, maybe endorse them. But how are you going to have 9 people already say, this guy has to go? This guy got to go. And you know what really should concern you? These are just the 9 people willing to tell us Biden should drop out. Because what was also mentioned in that George Clooney article was that he's had a lot of conversations with a lot of politicians. They all think the same thing, that Biden should drop out. But they're all testing the water. They're all waiting for the right time to say he should go. They're waiting for the dam to burst. That's the exact terminology he used. I mean, if George Clooney doesn't burst the dam, nothing will. Absolutely nothing. And George Clooney, this guy, there's a pretty good chance he actually talked to some politicians. I mean, this guy is, again, a member of the Democratic establishment. But okay, he's an actor. He's more of an activist. There's always been a disconnect between the activists of the party and the party itself. Fine. So let me tell you somebody else that thinks Biden should drop out. David Axelrod. Do you know who David Axelrod is? There's not a big reason you should. I mean, he's more of a political operative than anything. So let me tell you who he is. David Axelrod is so Democratic Party. He didn't just support Obama. He didn't just work for Obama. He didn't just directly report to Obama for his first term. He was one of the few people part of the original Obama team when he was trying to win the primary. This guy is as much of an establishment Democrat as could be. This guy's calling for Biden to drop out. There's a good chance he met Biden. Biden was Obama's vice president. He's calling for this guy to drop out now? That should raise alarm bells. If someone who's this much a part of the establishment is saying, we can't have Biden, understand This is pure chaos. This has never happened before. Even Nancy Pelosi, a woman so openly corrupt, she's worth hundreds of millions of dollars from just working in Congress. Even she is saying Biden could choose to drop out. That's a choice Biden has to make, whether or not to stay or drop out. There is a revolt of House Democrats against this. That's not the only thing they should be worried about. What they really should be worried about is the Senate. Let me tell you why. Because if Biden loses, which he will, there's a good chance the Democrats are going to lose the Senate too. And I don't know how much you know about the Senate, but the party with the majority in the Senate gets all the chairmanships, which makes it of these committees. And these committees are the things bills have to go through before they actually go for a full vote. And they can do all kinds of inquiries, investigations. You've probably seen some of these. You ever see those testimonies on TV, a bunch of senators asking somebody questions? Yeah, that was a committee. And all these Democrats have had to wait, especially in the Senate, have had to wait a very, very long time to get their chairmanships. Which means as much as they are establishment Democrats, they want to keep their chairmanships even more. We've seen reports about Mark Warner. This guy's no Bernie Sanders. This guy is a centrist Democrat. This guy is looking to gather people together as a group for them to say Biden should drop out. Now you might be thinking, well, geez, Biden should drop out. And that's what the donors are thinking. And that's what really matters. That's the only thing that's ever mattered to these Democrats. It's all about the money now. And that's not just on the Democratic side. It's also on the Republican side, too. After Citizens United, politics has just been so flooded with money from the PACs, from the think tanks, from the super PACs, from the dark money groups, the 501c3s, any container rich people can use to hide their money and play with our elections, they've done. Even the donors are saying Biden can't win. Even the donors are cutting support. And they're going to say, well, donors don't decide this party. And, we don't listen to the elites of the Democratic Party. First of all, donors are the only reason Biden actually got the nomination in the first place, because he was a corporate sellout. That's the only reason he got the nomination. Also because the Democratic elite, Obama, the guy that basically runs the Democratic Party now, rigged the primary so his former vice president, would win. That's what really happened here. Listen, they can say a lot of things, but when the donors turn off the money, at some point they're going to have to listen. They got a couple $100 million. That's a drop in the ocean for a real presidential primary run. And I don't know about you, but it's not people donating 20 or 50 bucks that gets Biden there. It's people donating 10,000, 100,000, $1 million for these little $5 chicken plate dinners that actually get it done. And if these people are saying for Biden to go, he's going to have to go. Because as much as he might say, the elites of the Democratic Party are against me, the truth is the elites are the only reason he ever made it this far. And without their support, whose support does he have? The activists? The people he shut out of the Democratic primary by having it rigged or rigging it himself in his favor? Probably not. So he's a man without a country. The grassroots doesn't like him because he's a fucking sellout. The elites don't like him because he's a fucking loser. And Republicans don't like him because he's a pedophile. It may not be true, but it's closer to Trump. But in other words, I don't think you're going to see a lot of Republicans like him. Outside, Trump's not even saying anything. You can't shut this guy up. This guy's not saying anything now. Why? I'll tell you why. He knows Biden's going to lose. He doesn't have to do anything. You remember how Biden won by not doing anything, by just staying at home? Trump's going to be able to do the same thing this time. And I know I've talked a lot about this, or at least a little bit about it. But there's a bigger story here. And it's not about Biden. To an extent, it's not even about Trump. It's about all that money in politics. It's about the fact that all these rich people have all this leverage over our elections. And that's why we're stuck with these people. These people weren't really chosen by anybody. Not anybody that actually cares. These people are put there by the money, by the special interests. This is not things you haven't heard before. But you haven't heard, this is stopping work. It's not working anymore. It's just not working. I mean, we have a great economy for now. Built on a bunch of unsustainable debt. How long is that going to last? Have you seen Ukraine recently? Not going great there either. Have you seen Israel? This is a client state of ours. It's committing a genocide. I mean, these things aren't going well for the American empire. So I don't think Trump and Biden are so much causes of these problems. They are symptoms of our own country's moral decay. This is a reason why you had to rig the primary against Bernie. You remember 2016 when Bernie was running and he didn't win? And then Donna Brazile wrote a book about how she cheated Bernie out of the nomination and rigged all the primary elections against him. You remember that book? I guess it didn't matter. And that gets us another disappointment I have. You're seeing a lot of these progressives count out of Biden, even more than the establishment Democratic operatives. David Axelrod is more against Biden as the nominee than Bernie Sanders. Let that sink in for a second. Why do you think that is? Why do you think AOC is so firmly supportive of Biden? I mean, she did endorse him last summer, but I mean, come on. with everything that's going on now, I don't think anyone would look at her twice if he changed her beliefs. I mean, so why? Why aren't we seeing progressives seize the moment going against Biden? Actually, I don't know. I have some guesses. One, it's got to be about AIPAC. Got to be about big donors, big money interests. Maybe it's just to protect their seats. Maybe it's something else. Maybe they cut a deal in a back room somewhere. I don't know. I really don't know. But it is really a missed opportunity. Massive missed opportunity. I mean, at this point, we want to attack the establishment. The establishment is attacking the establishment. I'd go for it. And at least I would just not even insert myself in it. I do the Trump way. Step back and let the boulder roll off the cliff. But we're just not seeing that happen there. I don't know why. I mean, if I was a House Democrat at this point, what would I be thinking? First off, if Nancy Pelosi can get away with not fully endorsing Biden for president, I can do whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. There's no rules. Hakeem Jeffries had a listening session. Biden wasn't even there. I mean, but in retrospect, it's probably for the best. Probably for the best. They can actually see this guy they don't want to support up close and realize how correct they were. But Hakeem Jeffries is saying, I'm going to relay the concerns. This, fucking 2-bit Captain America. Listen, he's not saving you. Even Sherrod Brown, this guy is basically an establishment Democrat. This guy is saying to donors, listen, the senators are running ahead of Biden on the ticket. Come on. Who believes these things? But I guess, this is how dumb donors usually are. But if even these people are saying, we're not doing any more events, we're not doing anything else for you, what could that tell you? Yeah, it's just an interesting story all around with Biden not actually being able to do the nominee. And then of course we're all looking for, who could be the replacement and stuff. I don't think there's anybody that's any... Well, no, first of all, I think Marianne Williamson is pretty good. I think, she should get a chance. But, they are going to rig it against her. But so who could really do this? Who's more likely? Not necessarily who I want to win. I, of course, want Marianne Williamson to be the Democratic nominee. She's actually kind of interesting. With all this chaos going on, she's one of the few progressives that's actually trying to take advantage of the situation. For whatever reason, AOC and Bernie just aren't willing to do. I don't understand that at all. How are you going to be that unpopular? You're going to support the establishment that hates you when the establishment is collapsing in on itself. At some point, you have to take the initiative and get these things done. But Marianne Williamson, I think she's doing a smart thing. She's another Hail Mary attempt at becoming nominee. I think I'll have a bigger effect, a good effect. I think at least maybe she could peel off a couple delegates. I think she could definitely peel off delegates. Definitely peel off delegates. We've only seen, because delegates are only pledged to the candidate for that first round. And I know there were some rumblings about them doing an online convention because there was some, qualifications and guidelines for the state of Ohio. And that's just you have to be on the ballot in every state if you want to be president, especially Ohio. But I doubt they're going to do that anymore because you would need that that Democratic establishment support, that Democratic elite donor support to pull something like that off, which he just lost. I mean, it's no wonder that Biden somehow didn't take the initiative and do what he could when he could do it. But, it's just kind of a shame. Because he's just a presumptive nominee. He's not the actual nominee. And after the first ballot, those delegates are all free to vote whoever they want to. And also, we have the super delegates. Because now we're seeing, with all the infighting and all the knives turning on Biden, what's really important? They really care about the country. I doubt it. They supported Biden the first time around. So they're all peeling off because everybody with functioning eyes knows Biden can't win. They're all trying to, at some point, protect their own personal power. So it'll be interesting to see how that can be leveraged against the establishment itself. Because everybody knows Biden's not going to win. Everybody knows Biden's not going to win. Even if they are supporting it, they don't support. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see this old senile man who can't string together a sentence isn't going to be reelected. Actually, yeah, I mean, there's actually some interesting family stuff going on. Even Obama was saying there's some weird shit going on with his family and stuff, and that Michelle Obama actually was not, even before this, wasn't a big supporter of him. Turns out, though, that Michelle Obama is like one of the few people, actually the only person that outpulls Trump. So she'll never do it. Not because she couldn't, because she'd never fucking want to. And who could really blame her? Immediately, if you become first lady, you try and, go into elected office, you immediately become more controversial. But I think she'd have a shot. I think Michelle Obama have a real shot. But who else? I know you've been seeing something on the news. I've been seeing these articles all lot about Kamala. Everyone's scared of Kamala Harris. I think she has a very good publicist. I think Kamala Harris. Did you hear that? Now they call her Mamala? I think she has a very good publicist, but I guarantee you, nobody on the planet is scared of this woman, other than her staffers. Because you want to know, they're absolutely batshit scared of this fucking Biden. They won't even put things in the briefings. He may actually need to know these things. They won't even put them in because they don't want to upset some old cranky old man who's losing his memory and connection with reality, man. Not that it was that good in 2020, really, ever since 2010, but yeah, I mean, as far as Kamala Harris goes being chosen, I mean, she definitely won't win, but as nominee, no. I think you can't be somebody's vice president, stab him in the back, and then be president. It's not that I doubt Kamala Harris is ruthless enough to do something like that, but she's definitely not competent enough to do anything like that. I think they gave her the border. What a clusterfuck that turned out to be. I mean, they would have just done better if they told everybody at the border to go fuck themselves. Or they would have been better. She would have been better off not doing anything and being criticized for her inaction than taking action and criticized for the action of her incompetence. So, but to donors, does that matter? I don't know. I don't think it could really work. Gretchen Whitmer, she's not doing it because she said she's not doing it. I think you're seeing a lot of people really play the political game here. They know that this year probably is not the year for Democrats. Or rather, not the year for their Democratic career. So they're thinking, listen, let this guy fall over and die this year. That also takes out Kamala Harris. Then I'll run again in 2028. These people are that spineless. This is the real calculus for most of them. Now, as politicians, I don't know if I can particularly blame them. That's just the job, but I guess if you would think of, maybe the country matters, or maybe doing something for other people matters, that public service actually means something in politics. I mean, it's a really slimy, shifty move that doesn't really show any leadership qualities at all. And there's an interesting counterpoint to this. There's a guy by the name of Andy Kim. If you're outside of New Jersey, you probably haven't heard of this guy. But it's a really interesting story. Because we've seen that Andy Kim was running, he was a congressman a Democratic congressman in New Jersey. That probably doesn't surprise many people. What I think should surprise you is the fact that he saw what was going to happen for the Senate seat. He saw that Bob Menendez got indicted for gold bar corruption. Literally, he had gold bars in his closet, and he was getting indicted for corruption. Now, the very next day, Andy Kim declared his candidacy for Senate. And I know what you're thinking. It's a pretty open and shut case. Well, Bob Menendez also had another corruption trial that he got turned into a mistrial and got away with. And the Democratic Party in New Jersey stood by him. So there's no guarantee that he could actually get any support for a Senate run. But Andy Kim did it. And something actually really interesting he said there is that he's like, I saw this happen last time. I can't let this happen again. I already think my political career is dead. Fine, let me do it. Now, is that the truth? Is that a bit of a spin? Probably, but when you take the big swings, you get to write your own story. And that's what he did. And he didn't just take on, some sitting senator. Not just that. He took on the Democratic establishment of New Jersey. Because here there's a very interesting political structure. It's very much dominated by the county parties of all these different New Jersey counties. And then and there's also something on the ballot. They changed the ballot itself, to rig the ballot. The ballot is rigged so that they put the candidates they want to in the most advantageous position, candidates they don't want in the least advantageous position. They actually had a statistical study done by somebody at Princeton, I think. It said there's a 38-point advantage. A 38-point swing. You know what that means? The county chairs choose who wins. But you know what Andy Kim did? He was like, wait a second. This is a shitty, corrupt system. And he sued to get rid of it. And he won! Just like he won the Democratic primary to be the next senator of New Jersey. Now, if you don't follow politics as much as I do, this seems not super standard. But if you really understand politics, this is massive. This guy heralded in a political revolution not seen in decades in the state of New Jersey and became a senator, starting as some no-name congressman. What should this tell us? It should tell us that, hey, doing the right thing isn't just worth it for its own sake because it's the right thing. Doing the right thing can yield unmatched electoral and professional results. Imagine if Andy Kim did the safe thing every other Democrat in New Jersey did, kept quiet, shut up, waited his turn, which he never would have gotten. He would have been a good Democrat, part of the system. But the second he chose to jump out of the system, try and break the rules, he got a lot of shit for it. He is running against the governor's wife. The governor, the wife who got endorsed by all the big county party chairs in New Jersey. Under the line system, this is basically means she's being ordained to be the next senator from New Jersey. There was not a real campaign expected of her. It just expected she'd win. But what did Andy Kim do? He saw something that was wrong, he took action against it, and he fucking won. Not just anything. He gets to be the next senator from New Jersey. He was a congressman with no name recognition that nobody cared about, and now he's the next senator. What I'm trying to illustrate here is that maybe some of these people on the sidelines should step up now. This is what we're going to see with this next Democratic convention is an unparalleled opportunity for rapid ascension up the political ladder, like we've never seen before. So if somebody actually takes advantage of this, like a Marianne Williamson, there's a much, much better chance that she should have that she could win. But why do we see these processes keep repeating themselves over and over? Why do we see the people that are objectively terrible keep winning? Because the game has been rigged in such a way where you can just buy your way through. Jimmy Carter actually didn't have to raise money. This guy was a president. He didn't even have to raise money from individual donors. There was a tax exemption that people had that he was just getting money from. And that was enough for a campaign. But now, after Citizens United, all the big money in politics, there's been so much, it's so blatant now, the corruption. There's not really anything. It's really hard to actually stop it. And we're seeing now all these special interest groups, everything else, all the big money donors start pulling out, which is, I think, definitely hurting them a lot more than they're letting on. What am I trying to say here? It's bigger than this. It's not just Trump. It's not just Biden. I think these are useful headlines, but the big headline, the thing that's actually driving all of this, is the decay of American empire. America is losing steam. It doesn't have as much money as it once did. We have a great economy now, but we also have $35 trillion in debt. Now, I know I'm not trying to be a fiscal conservative here. The writing's on the wall. The decay of American empire is coming. Yeah, the economy's doing great, but can you afford a house? Somehow, someway, all the bills you can't pay, the food you can't afford, the house you can't buy, it all traces back to this concentration of wealth. Concentration of wealth that's also corrupted our political system. Which is why you'll see a candidate like Joe Biden win the primary. Which is why you'll see a candidate like Trump sacrifice, or maybe sacrifice is too generous of a word. It implies he believed in something in the first place. You'll see candidates like Trump whore themselves out of the special interest because that's the job. That's the job now. Because if you don't raise $1 billion, you can't even have a chance. If you don't raise multiple billions of dollars, you don't have a chance of becoming president. I don't know about you, but I'm not a billionaire. And I don't know anybody who is. I don't know anybody with the spare $10 million to give me. There's a very, very small cabal of these people. And we've allowed, this concentration of wealth has exacted this cancer on our society. I think that's what it really all comes down to, which is why you'll see all these people back Biden, which is why you'll see the primary rigged against Bernie. It's about the forces of capital being able to choke the fucking life out of everything. Because if we had a real democracy, we would have two people better than Trump and Biden. The shittiest people you probably know are probably still better choices than Trump and Biden. Because these people may think, you know what, maybe concentrating all the power and money in the whole country to a small elite cabal of pedophiles that don't give a shit about anybody other than making themselves richer isn't the best strategy for the survival of a nation. But that's just something you see with late empire. With late empire, with deindustrialization, with the fact, the economy is doing great, but nobody has any money. It's that. It's just going to keep happening until we have a left-wing resurgence. And I think that's something that's very exciting about elections in, France and, to a lesser degree, the UK, that there is going to be this left-wing resurgence. That I think that's the next big wave. Because that's part of the reason Andy Kim won. Not just because he's so sharp, he's so smart. I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but he's no AOC. He doesn't have that star power like her, which, she's not using for whatever reason. It's about a system. It may be imperceptible, but the tectonic plates on these things are shifting. And if you can pay attention, I think you'll see something very special. And if you're really that attuned, you might just be able to take advantage of this and create a fantastic career in politics you never could have imagined otherwise. Thanks for your time, and please tune in next week. We're releasing every Wednesday. Thank you for your time, and this has been the Underground Politics Podcast.